Imagine asking someone a simple question. Do you want this? And before they even speak, they just shake their head. Instantly, you understand, no. No confusion, no translation needed. It's one of the most universal gestures in the world. But here's the strange part. When did humans actually start doing that? And why does moving your head side to side mean no in the first place? It feels so natural that we assume it's always been there, like breathing or blinking. But gestures, just like language, have histories, and the story behind this tiny movement is surprisingly deep. So let's break it down, right here, on History of Simple Things. At first glance, head shaking seems universal. Across many cultures, moving your head side to side signals disagreement, refusal, or rejection. From Europe to Asia to the Americas, people recognize it almost instantly. But it's not completely universal. In some places, like parts of Bulgaria or Greece, the meanings can actually be reversed or more nuanced. A nod might mean no, and a shake might mean something closer to yes or maybe. That alone tells us something important. This gesture isn't purely hardwired. Culture plays a role. Still, the overwhelming global consistency suggests that head shaking likely has a deeper origin, something rooted in human biology rather than just learned behavior. To understand where this gesture comes from, scientists looked at one of the most honest humans on Earth, babies. Infants, even before they can speak, often turn their heads side to side when they don't want something, especially food. If you try to feed a baby who isn't hungry, they'll literally move their head away, rejecting the spoon. This behavior appears incredibly early, long before cultural learning kicks in. And it's not something babies are taught, it just happens. This has led many researchers to believe that the no head shake might originate from this very basic action, refusal through avoidance. Turning the head away physically blocks something unwanted. Over time, that practical motion may have evolved into a symbolic one. Even Charles Darwin, in his 1872 book, The Expression of the Emotions in Man and Animals, noticed this pattern. He suggested that head shaking as a sign of refusal comes from infants rejecting food. According to Darwin, the movement starts as a functional action, literally avoiding something, and then becomes a communicative signal. In other words, what began as "I don't want that in my mouth" slowly turned into "I don't want that in general." It's a fascinating idea because it connects a simple everyday gesture to our earliest stages of life. So how does a physical reaction turn into a shared language? Humans are incredibly good at turning actions into symbols. Think about waving goodbye. It started as a literal motion, but now it carries meaning even from a distance. Head shaking likely followed the same path. Once people began recognizing the motion as a sign of refusal, it became standardized within communities. Over generations, it stuck. Children learned it by watching adults. Cultures reinforced it, and eventually it became second nature. What's interesting is that while spoken languages differ wildly, thousands of them exist, some gestures like head shaking remain remarkably consistent. It's like a silent language layered underneath speech. But why side to side specifically? Think about the mechanics. When you turn your head left and right, you're actively avoiding something in front of you. It's a clear, visible rejection. Compare that to nodding up and down, which often signals agreement. That motion can resemble leaning forward or engaging, almost like saying, "Yes, I'm with you." So the contrast between nodding and shaking may come from basic body language, approach versus avoidance. One invites, the other refuses. Interestingly, this idea isn't limited to humans. Many animals use similar avoidance behaviors. Turning away, pulling back, or redirecting their head can signal disinterest or rejection. While animals don't shake their heads in the exact human sense to say no, the underlying concept, avoiding something unwanted, is deeply rooted in evolution. That suggests the gesture might not just be cultural or even uniquely human, but part of a much older behavioral system tied to survival. After all, recognizing and rejecting something harmful like spoiled food or danger is crucial for survival. Even with biological roots, culture still shapes how the gesture is used. In some cultures, head movements are more subtle. In others, they're exaggerated. And in a few places, the meanings can flip entirely, which can lead to some very confusing situations for travelers. This reminds us that while the origin of the gesture may be biological, its meaning is still reinforced socially. So when you shake your head to say no, you're actually participating in both biology and culture at the same time. So, when did humans start shaking their heads to say no? There's no exact date, no moment in history where someone decided this means no now. Instead, it likely evolved gradually, starting from something as simple as a baby turning away from food. Over thousands of years, that small act of refusal transformed into a shared human signal, one so powerful that it can cross languages, borders, and cultures. And the next time you shake your head without thinking, just remember, you might be echoing a behavior that began long before words even existed, a tiny movement carrying thousands of years of human history. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.